Today I am in downtown Seattle. I'm not in the mountains, I'm not on the beach. I am right in the thick of it. Why am I down here today? That little crowd right there is here. In about an hour and a half, they are unveiling the statue of Chris Cornell, commemorating his life. Why am I down here today when I teach about spirituality? Well, a few things. Some things have been coming to me over the last few weeks about spiritual healing, what's required with spiritual healing, and where it will take you if you dive deep into the pain and all that. And Chris Cornell was somebody who I kind of aspired and looked up to a little bit to some degree, you know, not as an idol or anything, but somebody who I thought was very deep. And if you look at the lyrics of all his music, from Audio Slave, Soundgarden, and all his solo work, everything is just so rich and so deep. There's nothing simple. The man was super deep. If you watch him sing and look in his eyes, he is somewhere else when he's singing. He takes him place to where the song is about, and he's like no one I've ever seen, and probably the biggest influence in my musical career. And not that I sound or play anything like him, but just when I write songs, I come up with a lyrical idea or a guitar riff or something, and I start to put the puzzle pieces together to make the song. I always look at what's on the paper and the tones. I'm like, now what would Chris Cornell do with this? And it never ends up coming out like anything like Chris Cornell would do, or Soundgarden or whatever, but it's always a good place for me to start from. So so there's that, and we'll talk about some other stuff that's tied into why Chris Cornell and some of the things I teach about are tied together spiritually.
I want to start by thanking all of you for being here, for your love and support. This statue is a commemoration, a focal point to keep Chris's memory alive in us, in Seattle, and in the world. It's a reflection of his light, a light that shone through his music and touched millions. A light that he used to illuminate our lives, a light that will continue to inspire those in the future. This statue represents that light, a beautiful, powerful, incomparable presence in his hometown worthy of someone as special as Chris. As Seattle's son, he paved the way for other artists and drew the eyes of the world to Seattle.
Prepare, Seattle.
I know.
Well, that was just about the coolest event I've ever been to. Chris Cornell. All those people flocking around was really interesting, and there's a rock star status, sure, that's there with someone like that. But there's something interesting about people who create art and expose themselves lyrically and emotionally through song and whatnot. That's pretty spiritual in and of itself. But Chris had something a little different. I would invite everyone to look at just any live performances you see of Chris. Kind of everything you see, you'll see in his eyes. He's off in a deep place and he's expressing something deep. And it's really, hard to understand what some of his songs are about, but it's pretty cool. Something with the crowd I noticed there was a solemnness to it that wasn't just everybody wanting to see a rock star's statue. Everybody there was touched by him, I could tell, by his music in some regard. His wife and kids were there. The guys from Soundgarden were there. That was kind of cool, obviously very cool. His wife seems to be an amazing, rich woman full of abundance that just has so much to share. Their story's pretty great. She seems like an amazing woman. Last few days, as I've been going deep into some spiritual things I'm embarking on, through 3 different occurrences with 3 different people, I found there's something missing with me still that's holding me back, and I can't tell what it is for sure, but it did identify itself as something that's a pain that maybe I haven't identified with or dealt with or healed. So I just kind of became aware of that in the last few days. I wake up this morning and I remember that this event's going on here today, and then I had some emotional ties and attachments to somebody that kind of revealed themselves, kind of missing them. And then my sister hits me up and reminds me that today is the birthday of my dad's birthday. And this is the first year of his birthday without him being here. He died since his last birthday. So all of these things coming together, it kind of makes me wonder, is there things tied together with all of this that need healed in me? Last summer when my mom passed away, she died about a month or so after Chris Cornell died. I traveled to Colorado to be with her last week, which was an amazing experience, a lifetime experience. It's the most beautiful thing I've ever been involved with. Came back to Seattle. My band played a Chris Cornell tribute show for suicide prevention, which was an amazing thing, and then turned right back around a week later, went to my mom's memorial service in Colorado. And some of Chris's songs obviously tie into when you lose somebody and are very deep and meaningful. So it's interesting, I've got my own personal ties with Chris, both my parents passing away, things with my dad have been revealed recently. I've got some inner childhood trauma, probably not from him, but just some things communicating from him spiritually that I'm about to embark on. So I find myself in that state this morning, which was a beautiful place to be. And then all of these things just start coming to me throughout the morning. And I realized I'm just going to take the day off and do nothing and just feel the emotions of the day. Maybe feel into the pain of maybe I haven't processed everything from losing my parents. And this other individual that I do miss from time to time that's deeply connected to me. I mentioned before, my twin flame is who that is. So I haven't seen her in a little bit, but so all these things kind of blended together. And Chris Cornell's thing today was remarkable timing, so works for me. I'm gonna head down across town here. There's a pretty cool place, one other destination that is deeply entrenched in the Seattle community and Chris Cornell and all the Seattle bands. Let's go check that out. So that was the Central Saloon back there. That was way too loud to talk or film. Couldn't even order a drink in there. I was gonna have a beer, but guess I'll go somewhere else for that. On my way home, so the Central Saloon, Seattle's oldest saloon, is pretty cool. Soundgarden, Chris Cornell's main band, Alice in Chains, all the old grunge bands cut their teeth there. It's one of those stages that's got lots of energy, blood, sweat, and tears on it. I've had the good fortune to perform there many times myself, and whenever I've got on that stage, I do treat it with honor. There's been a lot of interesting souls that have performed there. And you can just feel all the energy blended together with all of this. It's pretty cool. So yeah, so back to why am I melding these things together and how do they meld together? For what I know about Chris Cornell, and I've never met the man, but I saw him perform live a few times, and I'm a big fan, so I'm fairly knowledgeable. I see him as something to aspire to for all of us. He did many great things, touched many lives, completely open, exposed, and vulnerable with deep lyrics, performing his entire life, and he just kept evolving as a human. His music got better as he got older, his lyrics got deeper, and he just became more beautiful, and I loved seeing that with him. One thing I'm noticing with a lot of people, even myself to some degree, when I was mentioning earlier about having something holding me back, which I'm delving into now, hopefully I'll discover that in the next few weeks, is everybody's got one thing holding them back. A lot of people want to ascend, they want to awaken and evolve spiritually and as a human, emotionally, all these different things. Everybody right now has one thing holding them back, just one little trigger. Why is that? One thing I've discovered is what we can do is dive in. Just dive into the pain, find out what's hurting. What have you set aside that you're not healing? Dive into that, embrace the pain. Feel it so it can wash through you. And then if it's something from an early childhood state or something earlier in life, meditatively you can go to a place where you can reach down and heal the little child version of yourself, the little boy, the little girl, whatever, and hold that individual through that circumstance that caused the trauma in the past. It's not easy, but it is life-changing and amazing. I'm here to testify.